Hi everyone, Bridget here at Pineapple Studios, and for today's Life Design Studio session, we're talking about gaining clarity with a little bit of help from your friends. So this is especially for if you've been feeling a little bit kind of stressed out or maybe even anxious, maybe overwhelmed when trying to explain to people what it is that you want, what you're working on, maybe something that you're working towards achieving, or something you want to contribute into the world. Maybe even want to start a business and you're kind of thinking about that. Wherever you may be in that, this is for anyone that's feeling a little overwhelmed in communicating those goals and communicating those ideas to others. It could even be if you're in a place where you're feeling kind of frustrated and maybe it comes up with your friends and then their follow-up questions of what you would want or what's causing the frustration at work or what would be better. If that's kind of causing some overwhelm and anxiety to you where you just want to kind of skip those conversations and not even worry about it. Now, of course, there's plenty of times where maybe you're working on something and it's a little bit more of those behind the scenes where you want to kind of surprise them with what you've done, or you're still kind of doing enough research on your side where where what you're doing, you just don't want to share it yet. And that's, of course, again, with life design, this is your path. You're at the end of the day, you're deciding. So that's completely understandable. What this is really more looking at and talking about is those times where you actually would want to talk to people about what you're working on, or you would want to bring to your friends or others or mentors or coaches, areas where you're feeling stuck, but then you just feel overwhelmed with the questions that come with that or with kind of talking through it. So this is really more for that side of things to help kind of reassure you in that space that there's nothing to be stressed about, but I know that it can be stressful. It can be overwhelming. So that's why I want to ease it a little bit, because it can be a really powerful tool in getting clarity. So the first thing to remember is that when it comes to answering these sorts of questions, it's never about proving yourself to the person asking the question. I think sometimes we can get kind of overwhelmed with coming up with the perfect answer or the right answer or having enough kind of clarity on the answer to the point where we lose sight of really why the question is being asked in the first place. The people asking, it's really not for them, right? It's not for us to prove anything to them. It's not for there's not much they're going to do with it at the end of the day. Really, it's an opportunity for us to gain clarity on what we're working on. So I know from my own experience, there were plenty of times where I was really passionate about these different areas. I knew there was an area that I wanted to really help and help others, and working in software, I saw some kind of major issues that I wanted to address and share with the world in terms of ways that we could kind of mitigate the risks that I saw that were coming with some of the development in tech. And it still was hard. It was kind of hard to articulate to everyone, what exactly I was working on, especially at certain stages of it when I myself was still trying to figure it all out. But what I realized is that the practice of being able to articulate that and the practice of being able to share that with other people, it was really helpful for me. For one, there were plenty of times when they did have something to contribute. They did remind them of a book they had just read or a person that they knew that was working on something similar. And so those connections are really, really powerful in kind of helping us on the path towards what we're working on. So those sorts of connections and insights that we can share with each other, super helpful. And then of course, just getting clarity for ourselves. So at a certain stage in the journey of kind of building this thing that you're building or getting clarity around the thing that you're getting clarity around, you may have a small vision of what it's going to be, like a slice of it, part of the picture. And the when you talk to people, it's not like you're going to walk away from that conversation. You may not walk away with everything figured out, right? The people you're talking to aren't going to have all of the answers. It's not going to be, one big celebration of, oh, okay, this is the answer. Now we can move forward. That's not always the way it's going to go. But what you'll notice is that even if 10 different things are said to you in that conversation, there may be one or two that are really stand out, that really resonate. And that's part of the process, right? Of seeing what really resonates so that you can take that information back, take those tools back, and they're going to help you on those next steps to whatever you're working on and figuring out. The other thing that I think can be really helpful is to just feel a little bit better about knowing that we can share what we do know. So being able to decipher that I might not know everything now, but this is what is calling me. This is what I am interested in. Even if it's just a little nudge, even if it's kind of vague, even if it seems kind of out there or seems really small, no matter what it may be, just sharing what you do know, because that can help people see where they may be able to fit in the picture. If there's an area that they can help you in terms of connecting you with others or connecting you with information, that's really helpful. And again, it's also helpful for you to be able to just iterate and grow on what you do know, to clarify that more and more and more the more you talk about it. The second part is being comfortable with stating what we don't know, what we know we don't know. Again, that helps other people see, oh, well, they're looking for clarity in this space, or they're looking for tools or resources in this space. And so if they happen to have a strength there, or they know someone who does, again, they can bring in those tools to strengthen what you have going forward. And then the last part is being comfortable with that we just don't know what we don't know, right? Having these conversations can be kind of intimidating or scary because we're kind of putting ourselves out there, making ourselves vulnerable in what are usually kind of these unknown situations, right? We're facing something new, a new challenge, and we're being honest about it, that we're not staying in what we know. We're not just staying with the job that maybe is not as just as it is, as if it's not as fulfilling for us, but we're starting to explore what else is possible. And inherently in going into that new frontier, you're going to reach that space where you're going to encounter things that you don't even know that you don't know. And so that can be daunting, but again, having these conversations and just being comfortable with the fact that something might come up that we just admit, I have no idea what that means. I have no idea how that would come into play. And just being comfortable, know that we don't know. And if anyone at the table does know, great. We just learned something new. We just got that much more informed for our next steps. Or if no one knows, at least it came up, and now it's something that we can investigate a little bit further and get more clarity around as well. So these sorts of conversations can be really, really helpful. But I think the biggest takeaway that I just want to put out there is whether you're doing a coaching program and you're getting all of these questions to answer and these different prompts to help you kind of ideate and help those wheels start turning for ideas, just remember with something like that, with those questions, you're not being graded. The person on the other side, the person who created that program or the coach that's assisting you, they're not seeing if you pass or fail. They're not seeing, are your ideas good enough? Are your answers good enough? These are prompts, these are exercises to benefit you. They're just helpful for you. So whether you are able to answer all of them fully, or whether they're just starting to get the wheels turning and maybe you come back to them later, or maybe it's kind of half clear what you write down, no matter what, this is for you. Just remember that. Whether it's friends asking you a question, or a mentor or someone out there that maybe would be a great resource, whether they're asking you kind of what you're interested in and you're finding the words to articulate it, or whether it's a service you've actually paid for and that's helping you build something or gain clarity, and the questions come with that service. Just remember, it's really about just helping you get to the next steps. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just trust the process, that it will keep getting clearer and things will keep coming. But also just remember to let yourself kind of enjoy the process a little bit and not feel so stressed. If these sorts of questions are really stressing you out and making you feel overwhelmed, just remember that they're just there to help you. They're just there to get the wheels turning and get that ideating going, because that's the way that some of these clues start to become more and more apparent. So you are on the right path. You are on a great track. If you're even asking yourself these questions, and you're already taking steps towards being intentional with designing your life and going towards a direction that's going to be really enjoyable and wonderful for you, and following that intuition or that nudge that there is something out there that you're meant to be doing. I absolutely believe that, and trust me, I've been on the same path, and I know it can be overwhelming, but it is a fun path, and I guarantee you it's going somewhere. And I guarantee you that no matter how you answer those questions along the way, people aren't judging you or waiting to see, do you answer completely knowledgeably and fully, and are you giving the right answers? They're just looking to see where they can help. They're looking to see what it is you may be looking for, and if they can help, they will. And if they can't, then they can't. It's okay. That's okay too. But just remember, this is your path. So, figure out what you can, where you are, and the rest will keep coming. So, hope that helps, y'all. Bye.